Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, according to your local time. Our friends and our colleagues to PMP group would like to welcome you to our session today. You all know that using activities inside the classroom is the most important thing that helps you as a teacher to manage your class and build rapport between you and your students. It also motivates students and get them engaged. Let's know more about activities with our brilliant presenter, Mr. Mahmoud Abdel Ghaffar, a real mentor trainer, a former English teacher, educator, coordinator at the British Council for NTTP program. Welcome, Mr. Mahmoud. Go on.
Thank you, Ms. Randa, for your wonderful introduction, and I welcome all people who are attending my session today. Today's session is about leading activities, and first of all, I will start my presentation by asking you a simple question, and I have asked it before in one of my presentation. What is the difference between lead-in and warming up? So, can anybody tell me what is the difference between lead-in and warming up? So this is my question. So if you know the answer, just raise your hand or just leave a comment in the chat box. So what is the difference between lead-in and warming up? Yeah, I'm waiting for your answers.
Please, if you want to answer, raise up your hand, unmute yourself. You can speak freely or write your comment on the chat box. Let me first welcome our Ismailia IG, Mr. Muhammad Gadallah. He's with us today. Welcome,
He is
Mr.
always with us,
Muhammad.
Mr. Randa. Welcome, Mr. Muhammad. Yeah. So what is the difference between lead-in and warming up? So can anybody tell me what the difference between lead-in and warming up? And somebody wrote, I don't know in the chat box here, I don't know.
Yeah.
We will tell you what is the difference between lead-in and warming up. Okay, simply lead-in activities or lead-in is that you begin your lesson with something concerned to the lesson. You just pave the way for your students by telling them something about the lesson. So, for example, you can just discuss the title of the lesson. This can be a lead-in, but a warming up, it can't be related to the lesson. It can be related and it can't be related to the lesson. So, for example, if you ask your students what is the date of today, your students will tell you the date. So this can be some kind of warming up. So if you ask one of your students, so what have you done yesterday? So if he answers you, this is some kind of warming up, not a lead-in. So the difference between lead-in and warming up is that lead-in is connected to the lesson or related to the lesson. But warming up, it can be related or it can't be related to the lesson. Is it clear? Is the difference clear? The difference between warming up and lead-in, is it clear?
Yes, Mr. Mahmoud. And we have maybe the same meaning, Ms. Dragana. Lead-in is related to the main part of the lesson, while the warming activities doesn't have to do anything to it.
Yeah, good. Thank you. In this session today, we will discuss some leading activities that will pave the way for your students to begin and start a new lesson in a peaceful way. And they will eager.
Unmute yourself, Mr. Mahmoud. You have muted yourself.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I want to say that in this presentation today, we will find some activities that will help you to start your lesson and pave the way for a good presentation inside the classroom. So we will go through 9 activities. So everything in these activities will be designed well. I mean that, so you will see what level of your students can be, also the skills that is the target skills of this activity, and how, or the procedures, how you can do the activity in the inside the classroom. So let's start and go to the first slide and see the first activity. Number 1, we have corner name tent. Corner name tent. Can anybody tell me what I mean by corner name tent, or you have any idea about this kind of activity? So if you know the answer, just put your hand up or raise your hand, or just leave a comment in the chat box. Can anybody tell me what do we mean by corner name tent? I will have a look at the chat box. What do
No
we mean by?
answers till now.
Okay, so I will tell you, just go to the second slide, Ms. Randa.
Okay.
We use corner name tent to build our rapport and to get participants familiar with one another in a class or a training course, to help facilitators learn names of participants. So if you want to learn names of your students, you have to do this activity. So for example, you are in the first period of the year and you don't know your students because they are all new for you. So what should you do? You should do this activity. It is called corner name tent. It's very easy, and I will tell you how to do it. The level of students, it can be primary stage, prep stage, and secondary stage, or any level. And the skills, we will see that this activity is very important for the listening skill, or the speaking skill, writing skills, and the reading skill. So it deals with 4 skills, 4 important skills, or 4 main skills. So so what you have to do, and you want to know the names of your students, so what can I do? We will see the procedures of this activity in the next slide. Can we go?
Okay.
Okay. The procedures, you have to distribute papers and markers. So for example, here, if you have 30 students in your classroom, so you have to prepare 30 pieces of paper and 30 markers for your students. And in number 2, you have to explain to participants that they will make name tents. So they have to fold the paper like a tent, like this. So they have to fold it like this, in a kind of tent. So they will make name tents with several items of information. So what they are going to write on the tent, it can be, you have to tell them that you have to write your name on the tent. Also, one simple thing beside your name. For example, you can write your name, and beside the name, you can write football. It means that your favorite hobby is football. Or you can write your name and your favorite actor, or your favorite, and it can be your favorite animal. So, and I will tell you why you are asking your students to write their favorite animals beside their names. So, for example, if you ask one of your students to write his name, and he wrote Mahmoud, for example, okay, and his favorite animal, he chose a horse, for example, okay. So when he writes a horse, you know that this kind of person or students is very much interested in moving inside the classroom, because a strongest horse, and beside he likes moving and going from one place to another. So I think that by doing something like this, you will know that what kind of learning style your students is. So for example, if you know that one of your students, Abdullah, for example, has written that his favorite animal is lion. A lion is a calm animal. He keeps sitting or still till he attacks. So this kind of student is a data student. He likes to learn or to listen before he is learning. So you ask your students to write their names, and after writing their names, you ask them to write one thing beside the name. We go to number 3, explain what should go on the name tent. As I've told you, write a name and write something on the name or beside the name. So also you should allow time for participants to complete each corner. So give them time. For example, you will finish the corner tent in 5 minutes, okay, or in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So you have to give or put a limit time for your participant to finish the tents. When participants, in number 5, when the participants are finished, they should turn to the person sitting beside them and ask. So they have to look at each other. For example, what have you written? Your name, I know that your name is Ali. So he will look at, he will not look at the name, just he will look at the animals that he has written beside the name. Okay, so he will see the animal, or he will look at the hobby that he has written beside the name. And this is very important. They will discuss what's your favorite hobby, for example, or what is your favorite animal. It's very important. Okay, so in the last step here, have participants introduce their partners. So you choose one of the groups, one person from each group to stand up and speak about or talk about his friends inside the group, the main group. For example, I have 5 students here. We are 5 students. Our names are so and so and so. Mahmoud, for example, likes his favorite animal is lion. So Ali is his favorite animal is the horse, for example, or whatever. So they are speaking, they are listening to your instructions, they are writing on the tent, and they are reading after that what they have written on the tent. So I think this kind of activity is discussing all the 4 skills in one time. Is this activity clear? Do you understand and got what I mean? Is this activity clear? Okay, say yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Randa, can you go to the second slide here? Okay. The second activity is called roll call attendance. So roll call attendance. So if I ask you how you take attendance inside the classroom, for example, so you want to make sure that everyone in the classroom is here inside the class. So how can you take attendance inside the classroom? So at the beginning of the classroom, and how can we shift this kind of attendance to be suitable for our students? I mean that it can be it can benefit speaking, it can benefit listening, it can benefit reading and writing or whatever. I will tell you how. But do you know how we use this kind of activity? But first of all, tell me how you take attendance when you enter the classroom. Can anybody tell me how you take attendance? Just if you want to answer, raise your hand or just leave a comment in the chat box. By calling names, right? Yeah. And I will tell you a simple idea when you are calling names, okay?
Calling its name, calling names.
Calling names, yeah. Yeah, all of you said calling names.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's move to the second slide, and I will tell you how you can call names in an active way. Okay. So when we use this activity to take attendance and get feedback from your students to help learners become more responsible and accountable for learning, to keep track of participation inside the classroom. So it deals with primary, preparatory school, and advanced students or secondary students. So what skills? They are listening and speaking. You are discussing listening and speaking. The teacher is speaking and he is listening to his students. So two kinds of skills here. We have listening and speaking. Okay, so before we move to the second slide, I will tell you how you can take the attendance in a very simple way. From the very beginning, from the first period in the year, when you enter the classroom, you have to tell your students to choose some kind of adjective that he can put beside his name. For example, if you have one of your friends who is called Ahmed, so don't say that Ahmed, don't tell your name. Ahmed, and you say active, so it can be active Ahmed, for example, or we can say reliable Randa, for example, Randa, or for example we can say romantic Rana, or magnificent Muhammad, for example. It can be something like this. So you just choose an adjective and you put the adjective beside the name. Okay, don't ask your students to tell just the name. So they have to choose some adjectives, that the adjective should begin with the first letter of their names. So if you want to revise verbs, for example, irregular verbs, so today you can tell them next time, inshallah, you will say your name and you choose an irregular verb. Okay, so for example, Iman, eat. So your students will have fun when they are presenting some verbs or some adjectives that to put beside the name. Okay, so you are calling students, yeah, they are calling and they are speaking and they are listening to you, and they are saying different adjectives. So because everyone will think of an adjective that, or a good adjective to put beside his name. So this is a good way. So whenever you face your students, and all over the year, all over the term, they will find a lot of things, a lot of adjectives, a lot of verbs to use beside their names. So let's move to the second slide and see what is
Okay.
what is we code. Okay.
Before, we have here a comment from the IG, Mr. Muhammad Gadallah. Well done, Mr.
Yeah.
Mahmoud. Wonderful new topic. And someone who asked for the certificate and the materials. The certificates and the materials will be sent on our Facebook group and our WhatsApp group after the session, inshallah. But please
Inshallah.
don't forget to fill in the form at the end of the session. Thank you. Go on, Mr.
Thank you,
Mahmoud.
Muhammad Gadallah. Thank you.
Yes.
So roll call doesn't always have to be a tedious activity in which a precious classroom time is spent. So if you read this slide, inshallah, in the PowerPoint, you will understand what I say. So, but the activity, as I've told you, you can do it as I have explained in my presentation here. So it's very easy, and this is a new way to take the attendance inside the classroom. Is this activity clear for you? Is it clear? Do you have any problem with the activity?
Let's go on, Mr. Mahmoud.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to the second activity.
Okay. The form will be allowed at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you. The third activity is called bell activity. Bell. Okay. So, for example, if you all of us are teachers of English, and sometimes the day after the break, you have an English class after the break. So through the break, all the students are playing and jumping, running, walking, chatting, eating, and they come to the classroom very exhausted, and you don't know how to just to make the classroom attention or focus on your class. So how can you do this? So you use this activity, which is bell activity. So you prepare a lot of questions, and you put the questions in all over parts, in every part of the classroom. Okay, so when you distribute the questions, or you put some questions on the groups, if you are if you have classified the classroom into groups, for example, if you have 5 groups, you have to put some questions on each group. Okay, and then you will say, I have a bell on my mobile phone. So you have to answer the questions very quickly. So before the bell rings, if the bell rings, you fail. If it doesn't ring and you finish, you are the winner. So they will do the exercise very quickly, and they will try to find it the answers very quickly, because and by doing something like this, you will make your students more focused and ready and eager to complete the lesson or the exercises after that. So let's move to the second exercise, and I will tell you how. So when to use the activity to transition students into the English. I mean that if they have attended an Arabic lesson, and your lesson is comes after the Arabic lesson, so you have to make a transition between the Arabic and the English lesson. So this is very important to warm up class and to set a schema of a student, and to focus the students after a break. After the break, and you want to gain focus, or you want to have or to win the focus of your students. So you have to try this activity. The level of students, all levels, it deals with all levels, and concerning the skills. So they are speaking, because they have to read the questions. They will read the questions that you have prepared on the tables or inside the room, and after that they will stand up and read what they have written. So it deals with reading, it deals with writing, and it deals with speaking. So three main skills: reading, writing, and speaking. Okay, so this activity is very important for doing something like this. So for example, I will tell you some kind of questions. For example, if you are teaching a novel, Treasure Island, for example, Treasure Island is a great novel. So you will prepare some questions. For example, so what can you describe for a group one, for example? Can you describe John Silver? Describe John Silver. Students will do it very quickly. They will write everything what they know about John Silver, even though they have known, or in previous they have known information about John Silver. So this activity is very important. They will read the questions, and they will write the answers, and after that they will stand up and speak and tell what they have written. So this is very important activity. Can we move to the second slide, Ms. Randa? Okay. Okay, this is how we can describe the activity, how we do it, and I have explained the activity. If you know the activity, or have you got the idea of this activity, just tell me. Is this activity clear for you? Is it clear?
Got it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let's move.
Number 4 is find someone who. So find someone who is a very communicative activity, and I will tell you how to do it. So first of all, you have to prepare many questions on the board. So for example, if you are discussing a student's favorite hobbies, for example, or favorite subjects, so you have to write many subjects on the board. For example, English, Arabic, social studies, science, math, or whatever the subject is. So you have to prepare the subjects on the board and write them on the board. And after that, you ask them to find someone who is very much interested in science. Find someone who likes English most. So, and you ask your students to go and stand up inside the classroom and go from one student to another. So you can limit the questions by saying that you have to find 5 students, or you have to write 5 answers. So one of the students, for example, you have Ali, for example, will go and choose 5 students. So, and he keep asking them, what's your favorite subject? He will say, he will write Ali, English, Ahmed, for example, science, Omar, math. So, and you have to put time limit for this activity. And after that, you ask your students to go back to your seats, and they all will go back to their seats. And after that, you will say, now, can anybody tell me, and who wants to tell me what you have discovered? So, for example, Ahmed will say, please, mister, I can share the information. And Ahmed will stand up and say, so I have asked 5 students. I have asked Ola, Ahmed, Ibrahim, Atif, and so on. So Ahmed likes Gaza, and Ahmed likes so, and Ahmed Ibrahim likes so, or Ola likes so. So he is speaking and telling you what his friends are talking about. So this is what we mean by find someone who. Okay, we can move to the second slide, and I will tell you how to do it. So when to use it to serve as an icebreaker. This kind of activity is an icebreaker to practice asking questions and responding to questions, to practice and particular grammar points. For example, if you are focusing, for instance, if you are discussing the present continuous, for example, so you can say, I am traveling next week. I'm going to the cinema next week. And you keep repeating next week. I am playing football next week, for example. I am preparing my new lessons next week. Okay, so you can ask your students to stand up, and you can ask them to move through the classroom and find someone who is going to the cinema this week or next week. Find someone who is playing football next week. So by doing this kind of activity, you are discussing grammar, you are discussing the present continuous tense. So the level of students here, all levels, it deals with all levels. And students will listen to your instructions, and they are reading what you have written on the board, and they will stand up, and they will keep asking, all of them are asking each other's the same questions. So they are speaking and they are writing at the same time. So it discusses all the 4 skills. This activity is a very good activity. Okay, can we move to the second exercise? So as I have told you, this is an oral activity that gets the students out of their seats. You will ask the students to stand up and go to another student and ask him, and talking to each other. The goal of this activity is to find someone in the class who can answer giving survey questions affirmatively. It is commonly used as an icebreaker, but it is also a good way to practice particular grammatical forms, as I've told you, and I told you how to use it using the present continuous tense, for example. Of course, to practice speaking. So when students stand up and they are talking to each other, they are breaking the ice between each others, and they are talking inside the classroom. The classroom might be noisy, but it's a healthy noise.
Excuse me, the link will end in less than 1 minute. Please join us at the same link, okay?
Okay, thank you.